Venezuela's two legislatures duel, but only one has ammunition. Caracas, Venezuela, the national legislature has not passed a law all year, and its members, though still willing to go through the motions of representative democracy, have on occasion struggled to come up with enough lawmakers to conduct any business. Its administrative building is a wasteland of empty desks, inert computers and malaise. Hallways are cast in an ever-deepening dusk as light bulbs burn out and are not replaced for lack of money. The Legislative Information Office, which prints documents for committees and outside groups, has no paper. Not that it matters much, the copy machines ran out of toner last summer. These are grim days for the National Assembly of Venezuela. The legislature, which has been led by the opposition since last year, was neutered over the summer when President Nicolas Maduro engineered the creation of a new lawmaking body, composed entirely of his supporters, a move widely criticized in Venezuela and abroad as unconstitutional. The new entity, the Constituent Assembly, was formed to rewrite the Constitution, though its members quickly granted themselves wide-ranging authority to write and pass legislation, allowing the body to supersede the National Assembly. The move produced the bizarre scenario of a nation with dueling legislatures, one with absolute power, the other with none. They both used the same wing of the 19th century Capitol for their sessions, although at different times of day to ensure no unpleasant encounters occur in the corridors. Each body has accused the other of illegitimacy and of engaging in a pantomime of democracy. "It's a total tragicomedy," sighed Juan Guaido, an opposition legislator in the National Assembly representing the state of Vargas. "It seems like a joke." The political crisis has unfolded as Venezuela has sunk deeper into economic despair. The financial outlook became even murkier on Thursday, when Mr. Maduro said he would seek restructuring of Venezuela's enormous foreign debt, a move seriously complicated by American sanctions. The National Assembly's demise was perhaps foretold when the opposition took control of the body after elections in December 2015. It was the first time in many years that the opposition had a legislative majority, ensuring a power struggle with Mr. Maduro and his United Socialist Party of Venezuela. The president and his allies started chipping away at congressional powers. The Supreme Court, stacked with judges loyal to Mr. Maduro, nullified nearly all pieces of legislation that the Assembly passed in 2016 and stripped it of its budgetary oversight powers, saying its leaders were in contempt of court for ignoring an order that barred the swearing-in of several opposition politicians whom the ruling party said had engaged in electoral fraud. Citing the contempt ruling, the Maduro administration squeezed the Assembly's budget, cutting the salaries and expenses of its representatives, and legislators from his party stopped attending its sessions. The Supreme Court even transferred legislative powers from the Assembly to itself, but in the face of international condemnation, reversed much of its decision. Mr. Maduro has also sought to silence dissent in other ways, including prosecuting opposition leaders. On Friday, the Supreme Court allowed the lifting of parliamentary immunity for Freddy Guevara, the National Assembly's vice president, whom the government has accused of crimes for his involvement in street protests this year. Opposition legislators and the legislature staff liken the two-year ordeal to a prolonged strangulation. "It seems to be a strategy to see how much we can take," said Jose Angel, an administrative assistant in the National Assembly's office building. Still, the legislature has continued to hobble along through sheer force of will, struggling to maintain legislative procedure and respond to constituents' concerns. "Under no condition are we going to stop doing what the people have asked us to do," said Delcer Solorzano, an opposition legislator. Mostly, though, the National Assembly has become a platform for the opposition to criticize the Maduro administration. A recent session was dedicated to allegations of government corruption in regional elections on October 15. A commission hearing last month featured testimony about political prisoners. "It's the little space that we have to resist," Mr. Guaido said. "But sometimes it has failed to make the best of what little space remains." On Tuesday morning, dozens of National Assembly members and their aides gathered for a session at the Capitol. After a 2-hour delay, it was cancelled because not enough lawmakers showed up. The dispirited representatives slunk away. The legislature's desperate condition is cause for glee among politicians allied with the Maduro administration. The National Assembly in this moment doesn't